Getting enough water every day is important for your health. Drinking water can prevent dehydration, a condition that can cause unclear thinking, result in mood change, cause your body to overheat, and lead to constipation and kidney stones. Water has no calories, so it can also help with managing body weight and reducing calorie intake when substituted for drinks with calories, such as sweet tea or regular soda. Demand for natural gas has grown internationally in recent years, in part because it has a smaller carbon footprint than coal and other fossil fuels. In Singapore, where the government has promoted increased use of natural gas, consumption has grown about ninefold in recent decades. In some places, natural gas consumption has expanded as public opinion has turned against nuclear power. Today, most American citizens over the age of 18 are entitled to vote in federal and state elections, but voting was not always a right for all Americans. Because the Constitution did not specifically say who could vote, this question was largely left to the states in the 1800s. While no longer explicitly excluded, voter suppression is a problem in many parts of the country. Throughout history, Stanford Medicine has been home to cutting-edge medical advances, including the first successful adult human heart transplant in the United States and the first combined heart-lung transplant in the world. Stanford School of Medicine is the West Coast's oldest medical school and worldwide leader in patient care, education, and innovation. Sportsmanship comes in many forms and helps make competitive games fun and enjoyable. It fosters good habits and positive life skills both in and out of sports games, and is an important life skill for people of all ages. It is also key to becoming a mature, respectful, and successful adult. Contemporary scholars who study scientific methodology are often frustrated by the implication that science is logically falsifiable. The problem is that scientists can always make excuses to avoid falsifying a claim. The discovery of Neptune is a famous case. Astronomers had noticed irregularities in the orbit of Uranus. One possibility was that these irregularities violated the theory currently used to explain planetary motion, and that this theory should be rejected. With our current situation and the state of the global economy, there is a much lower chance of landing a new job anytime soon. And it's unclear when social distancing measures will end or what shape the economy will be in when you are able to return to work. Like other cognitive biases, implicit bias is a result of the brain's tendency to try to simplify the world. Because the brain is constantly inundated with more information than it could conceivably process, mental shortcuts make it faster and easier for the brain to sort through all of this data. It is important to note that even good stress can lead to spikes in blood sugar levels. Mental and physical stress, such as worrying about your job or getting sick, can create negative stress. But even positive or exciting events, like riding on a roller coaster or winning an award, can create stress on your mind and body. Psychology is both an applied and academic field that benefits both individuals and society as a whole. A large part of psychology is devoted to the diagnosis and treatment of mental health issues, but that is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the impact of psychology. For a lunar eclipse to occur, the Sun, Earth, and Moon must be roughly aligned in a line. Otherwise, the Earth cannot cast a shadow on the Moon's surface and an eclipse cannot take place. When the three bodies are aligned in a way that the Moon is partly covered by the Earth's umbra, a partial lunar eclipse is the result. As of Friday, Musk and Twitter had given no public notice of the coming layoffs, according to a spokesperson for California's Employment Development Department. That's even though the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Statute requires employers with at least 100 workers to disclose layoffs involving 500 or more employees, regardless of whether a company is publicly traded or privately held. If you walk into your kitchen, almost everything has encountered plastic in one way or another: the plastic bags you stuff into a drawer, your favorite cup, and even the packaging keeping those blueberries fresh. Despite plastic's ubiquity, we often forget where it comes from. Indeed, when it comes to plastic, our efforts seem much more focused on what happens after rather than before we use it. The blame for overconsumption should not and cannot be placed solely on individuals. Companies and corporations have a vested interest in making you buy more stuff, because if they don't, they go bankrupt. This is why they slap green labels onto their products and advertise everywhere. Indeed, the whole idea of a personal carbon footprint is a propaganda campaign created by a fossil fuel giant. For as long as society has existed, we've understood the role of surrounding influences on our decision-making. With idioms like "it takes a village to raise a child" and "you are the product of your environment," we understand that to a great extent our upbringing, our parents, and the society we grew up in influence our decision-making process. Lions and lionesses play different roles in the life of the pride. The lionesses work together to hunt and help rear the cubs. This allows them to get the most from their hard work, keeping them healthier and safer. Being smaller and lighter than males, lionesses are more agile and faster. But like other low-impact exercises, yoga reliably improves fitness and flexibility in healthy populations. The practice has also been shown to be a potentially powerful therapeutic tool. In studies involving patients with a variety of skeletal disorders, yoga was more helpful at reducing pain and improving mobility than other forms of low-impact exercise. Someone who looks extremely active, whose diary is filled from morning till night, who is always running to answer messages and meet clients may appear the opposite of lazy, but secretly, there may be a lot of avoidance going on beneath the outward frenzy. Busy people can evade a different order of undertaking. The term core competence described a diversified corporation as a large tree. The core products are the trunk and major limbs. The business units are smaller branches, and the end products are the leaves. The core competence is the root system that provides nourishment and stability. It's essentially what your organization knows about coordinating production and technology. For noble and very understandable reasons, we've come to associate maturity and kindness with a capacity not to give up on people. But this broad and generous truth can be in danger of missing out on an important caveat that health and maturity may also require a subtle capacity to give up on one or two people. The idea behind recycling is simple. By breaking old products down and converting them into something usable again, we conserve natural resources. Sadly, it's not that simple. Recycling is deeply entwined with our economic system, and right now doesn't make much economic sense. It often costs more to recycle than it does to just throw things away, which is bad news for the environment. Since its founding, America has enjoyed population growth famously fueled by high immigration rates, but Americans have historically had large families compared to other countries as well. Birth rates today have fallen to their lowest point in history. While birth rates have historically been connected to economic cycles, the present decline is happening during good economic times. Successful economies and cultures are built on trust, but a number of high-profile data breaches and privacy intrusions have caused anxiety for consumers. New legislation may be needed to bolster confidence in the digital marketplace, but we've got to be thoughtful about it, so we don't strangle the golden goose that we call the internet. In fact, a lot of what we perceive as flavor comes from odor molecules that float up to our smell receptors through our mouths. And as with taste, studies have shown the visual cues we get from color help us identify smells more quickly and accurately. In fact, one study found that the source of a smell doesn't have to be the corresponding color. When you're scared, your body will typically try to take in more sensory information. So your face will open up as you breathe more deeply and scan the environment with your eyes. On the other hand, when you're disgusted, you'll generally reject sensory information. A huge shopping revolution is happening in China right now. For instance, e-commerce in China is soaring. It's been growing at twice the speed of the United States, and a lot of the growth is coming from mobile. Every month, 500 million consumers are buying on mobile phones. And to put that into context, that is a total population of the United States, UK, and Germany combined. People might think that they're anxious about math because they're bad at it, but it's often the other way around. They're doing poorly in math because they're anxious about it. Some psychologists think that's because math anxiety decreases a cognitive resource called working memory. That's the short-term memory system that helps you organize the information you need to complete a task. People with generally sensitive skin have local reactions to chemicals, dyes, and fragrances present in products that come into contact with their skin. They may also get rashes or irritation from clothing or friction. Some people are allergic to certain substances and may react on their skin. There's a lot of research out there that suggests social media are a useful tool to stay connected to others. In fact, those who use social media more also report feeling more social support. However, all of this comes with a huge caveat: we simply don't know about cause and effect. A lullaby or cradle song is a soothing song or piece of music that is usually played for children. The purposes of lullabies vary. In some societies, they are used to pass down cultural knowledge or tradition. Lullabies can be found in many countries and have existed since ancient times. Social media is a powerful tool for making people feel more knowledgeable and may have benefits for people's mental health. Feeling smart can improve self-esteem, commented Dr. Ward. Indeed, studies have shown that news sharing can lead to social learning and political engagement, encouraging people to take more active roles in their communities. Environmental damage does not affect all people equally. For this reason, some people may feel anxiety around ecological issues more intensely. Some parts of the world are more vulnerable to the effects of extreme weather, including coastal communities and low-lying areas. Particularly, people whose livelihoods depend on the environment, such as those with jobs in fishing, tourism, and agriculture, are more likely to be affected. The teleology and historical contingency of biology make it unique among the sciences. Both of these features stem from perhaps biology's only general guiding principle, evolution. It depends on chance and randomness, but natural selection gives it the appearance of intention and purpose. Animals are drawn to water not by some magnetic attraction, but because of their instinct to survive. In the not-so-distant past, society shunned people with mental health conditions. Some people believed that evil spirits or divine retribution were responsible for mental illness. Although this way of thinking has been extricated from society in much of the world, it still casts a long shadow. Liver cancer can be fatal, but experts are still working to understand how to best screen for and prevent liver cancer. Data from a recent study suggests that a diet high in processed fiber could increase some people's liver cancer risk. Testing for the level of bile acids could help identify people at risk of developing liver cancer who may need a lower intake of fiber. Eco-anxiety refers to a fear of environmental damage or ecological disaster. This sense of anxiety is largely based on the current and predicted future state of the environment and human-induced climate change. Anxiety around environmental issues may stem from the awareness of a rising risk of extreme weather events, losses of livelihood or housing, fears for future generations, and feelings of helplessness. To understand how sharing affects a person's subjective and objective knowledge, the researchers gave a group of students the opportunity to read and share a range of news articles. The students then had to rate their subjective knowledge of each article before completing 3 multiple-choice questions that assessed their objective knowledge. While costs are rising, artist fees are not, and tickets to regular shows are harder to move than ever. Many fans aren't ready to return to the crowded mosh, others are dealing with the cost of living crisis. And with the exception of blockbuster shows, people who do buy tickets are tending to buy them last minute, creating a cash flow problem for artists. Over the longer term, higher educational institutions are supported to either provide on-campus nursery space or work with established local nurseries to provide affordable childcare for students and staff. This should be a standard for all universities and should be supported by the government to help universities and students and staff cover the costs. Eating a handful of almonds a day significantly increases the production of butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid that promotes gut health. Whole almond eaters had an additional 1.5 bowel movements per week compared to the other groups. Eating almonds could also benefit those with constipation.